Hello and welcome to the National Road Safety Partnership Program webinar, The Secret Road Safety Ingredient That Flies Under the Radar. My name is Jerome Carslake, and there I am, and joining me also is Amanda Stevens. So we've done a bit of a dual panel session today. Welcome, Amanda.
Thanks, Jerome. I'm really excited about this one.
The reason Amanda's here is because she's passionate and always awesome around aggressive driving, those sort of components. There's a whole lot of new tools we're going to be learning today. So, and with regards to how long the session's going to go for, we're looking for around 60 minutes, and it is going to be interactive. I can guarantee you on that. And it's going to be recorded and shared on the NRSGP website, and everyone will get an email afterwards. And I will just reaffirm, it will be interactive, and you'll see why as we get up in a tick. So if you want to throw questions or chat, if you're new, please throw them on in. And we have welcome Israel. Thank you for introducing yourself in the chat. That's fantastic. And yeah, we want to make it as interactive as possible. Throw your questions, throw the chat in. Everything is open, and we want to make this as interactive as possible, as I've said. So over to the amazing person who we have presenting to us today. Welcome, Sonja.
Morning. It's morning for me. Sorry, I'm all discombobulated. Afternoon, Melbourne. Morning, other parts of the world.
So she may be over in the UK, but her heart is in Melbourne, so she's been over there, got beat COVID a little bit. And just quick little background about Sonja before we dive in. She is the co-founder of the Human Company, a leadership and wellbeing consultancy focused on creating sustainable, high-performance human connection, resilient, engaged leaders and people. Her expertise is steeped in the science of positive psychology, emotional intelligence, and neuroscience pragmatism. And Sonja is generally an amazing person, and she also is recovering from chronic fatigue syndrome for flourishing, and now is flourishing and living well through. And this is what you're going to be sharing with us as we go on. So over to you, Sonja.
Thanks, Jerome. What a lovely introduction. It's so strange not seeing people, right? It's like, you know, because I normally run these things and I can see everyone's faces and it's really nice. So I'm in a hotel in London. I'm actually running a workshop down here today. So I wouldn't normally be doing this from a random bedroom somewhere in the world, but just let me share my screen. There we go. Can you see that? Okay.
Good Excellent. To go.
All right. So yeah, so today we're going to cover the road safety tool you never knew you needed. And really huge thanks to Jerome and Amanda for inviting me to run this session with everyone. So I am Scottish, but I call myself a Scottish Melburnian, having spent a long time living in Melbourne and Victoria. But through my time there, I actually did burn out quite significantly. Work hard, play hard, right? So this is where I learned a lot about the stuff that I'm going to teach and share with you guys today. So we are going to be talking a lot about breathing, and I'm going to invite you to be really curious, right? Because I know many of you right now might be rolling your eyes and going, what? I thought I was here to learn about road safety. Trust me, you will leave with something that you never knew. So please be curious. I would love for you to hang in there till the end, because this could quite radically change your life as it did mine. So this is me. Jerome already introduced me. So yeah, I am the founder of the More Human Company. And really it's the strapline is don't burn out and don't be an asshole. And if you learned how to breathe, as we're going to do today, both of those things are going to improve. So I'm just going to invite everyone just to take a quick stretch, right? So it's really early morning for me. I've literally fallen out of bed and, you know, beautified myself as much as possible. So let's just take a moment just to get grounded and a little bit connected. So I'm going to, I can't see you all, so you can just ignore me or you can do it. It's up to you. So we're just going to do a quick inhale and stretch. So inhale, raising your arms to the sky and just feeling that lengthen through your spine, because we're all sitting at our desks all day long, right? Oh, I don't know about you, but it feels good for me. And then just placing your right hand down on your right thigh, you're going to inhale to lengthen and then exhale just to lean slightly over to the right, and just want to get a stretch up your side here. And I'll explain why later. And then inhale back to center, arm comes up, left arm goes down, inhaling to lengthen, and then just exhaling, just really gently. Don't go crazy. I can't see anyone. And then back to center. And then I just want you to take any movements that you need, maybe some cat-cow, you know, maybe just moving around your hips, noticing what's a little bit tight for you. Ah, how does that feel? I feel better.
Me too,
Can I
Sonja, me too.
Right, a little bit of reinvigoration just with an early morning stretch, and I do have my coffee. I will face up to that for sure. So, like, what are we going to cover today? So what we're going to cover is we're going to look at awareness and our general lack of awareness in life, how our thoughts and our emotions actually drive our attention, why breathing is important. So we're going to cover the physiology and also some of the neuroscience that sits behind it. So we actually are going to look at the science of breathing as well as the application of it. And then I'm going to teach you how to breathe, because I thought I knew how to breathe. But after, you know, studying with amazing teachers all around the world, I've realized, oh, actually, I was completely clueless. And we intuitively know we've just forgotten because of modern society. So there's zero judgment. What are you going to leave with? You're going to leave with an understanding and an appreciation of your triggers on the road. What are the things that absolutely set you off? You're going to learn how breathing can and will support greater awareness in life and driving. You're going to leave with new habits, and hopefully you're going to feel pretty zen when you leave, and just with some new information. That sound all right for everyone? I think we lost one.
Fantastic idea.
Somebody popped off. They're like, oh God, she's making me stretch. What's going on here? I have some guiding principles for all of my classes. If you yawn, if you start to yawn, please embrace your yawn, really lean into it. Don't try and stifle it the way we do over in the UK, like try and be super polite. So you want to just really lean into your yawn. If you're wearing clothes right now that are a little bit constrained and tight, then please pop your buttons, you know, make sure you're super comfortable, and ask as many questions as you like. No questions are stupid. And if you fall asleep, please make sure you're doing this at home, that you're actually not in a car. So if you fall asleep and feel sleepy, that's absolutely fine. So if you need to take a little nap, all good, not a problem at all, because some of these practices will make you do that. Please grab a notebook and pen. You will be asked to make some notes. You can also do it in your head, but it's quite nice just to have a notebook and pen. Jerome, would you mind just keeping an eye on the chat? And then if there's anything you need me to answer, just give me a note.
I'm on it.
All right, Jerome's on it. All right, so let's get started. Quick question for everyone. How much of our time do you think we spend on autopilot as a percentage? What percentage of time do you think we spend on autopilot? Jerome's 40%, 25, 60, I've got a few 75. Sorry, Adam. 60, 30. Awesome. Oh, I love that everyone's interacting. That's amazing. We actually spend 90% of our time on autopilot. 90%. Isn't that slightly horrifying? I know. And this comes out of different research from places like Harvard and Stanford. So 90% on autopilot. Oh, one sec. And how many of the thoughts do you think that you had today, you had yesterday, and you will have tomorrow? So again, as a percentage, what percentage of your thoughts do you think are just like running on a spin wheel, repeating over and over and over again? 95, 50, 50. Jennifer's done this before. Yes, 95%. Yep. Adam, you agree. Oh, Adam, we're going to have fun. My other surname's actually Gibson, so there you go. We might be related. So yeah, 95% of the thoughts that we had today, we will have again tomorrow. So whether they're positive or negative, like we have this rumination that goes on quite a lot. And for 50% of the time, our attention is wandering. Right, half of the time our attention is wandering. And if you relate that back to something like road safety, it means that when you're in the car, you're not exactly fully present. So we're really going to focus on building self-awareness. So self-awareness is the foundation of emotional intelligence, but it's also super important when it comes to us being present with each other and when we're on the road, checking in with ourselves. So I just want to ask a quick question. Do you ever ask yourself, am I in the right frame of mind to drive? So when we get in a car or we go, oh, I need to pop to the shops, or I need to go to work or drive the kids X, Y, or Z, we kind of check in ourselves, am I tired, right? Or if you've been in a night out, have I been drinking? So we look at all these kind of physical and physiological aspects, but we never actually ask ourselves, am I in the right frame of mind to drive? You know, we've got into this very great habit because of lots of education or road safety campaigns. Like when I grew up, seatbelts weren't mandatory, right? You didn't have to drive wearing a seatbelt, but I still remember clunk click, right? Do you remember clunk click? So Jerome's like, no, it was probably a British thing. So, you know, we're in the habit, we don't even think about it, right? That's one of the things that is automatic for us, which is a great habit to have, is automatic, right? You get in your car and you put on your seatbelt. But we don't ask ourselves, you know, how am I feeling? Because we carry with us at any one time lots of positive and negative emotions. And these will absolutely impact how we show up in the car and on the road. So we are going to circle back to this, but it's just, you know, write down your answer to that question. In fact, if anyone wants to put it in the chat, you know, do you ever ask yourself, am I okay to drive? Yeah, Phoebe's put in the chat. I mean, a lot of people actually now have more anxiety on the roads because we haven't been used to driving, right? So hopefully that makes sense with everyone. All right, so that's enough talking for me just for this second. We're going to jump straight into a practice, and everything starts with awareness, including breath awareness. And what we're going to do is we're going to take your breathing baseline. We're just going to check in and go, oh, how do I breathe without really thinking about it? Okay. So get comfortable, find a comfy seat. Hopefully, I think you can see me okay. And I'm going to invite you to put one hand on your chest with your physical body and one hand just over your belly button, right? Just at your navel center. And if it's comfortable for you, I'm going to invite you to close down your eyes. And if not, just very gently lower your gaze. And if it's possible, just have your feet flat on the floor. And I just want you to take a moment to connect to your breathing. You're not trying to change or force your breath. You're simply observing and noticing your body breathe. Maybe the first time today, ever, that you've actually paused to notice your body breathing. And just paying attention to the cadence of your breath. Is it fast? Is it slow? Noticing if you are breathing more high in the chest. So do you feel the hand on your chest move? Or is it the hand on your belly? Noticing any tightness. Does your breath feel open and expansive? Or does it feel more constrained? And as you take this moment to redirect your attention to your breath, notice if it's already started to change. And just doing a very gentle scan, noticing your jaw, noticing if it's tight or relaxed, your shoulders, and your posture. And just going inwards just to observe. And 2 more breaths like this. Allowing your hands to drop into your lap. And noticing how you're feeling. And when you're ready, just very gently opening your eyes. know that I could have stayed there all day, but that's me. So here's just some prompts for you, right? So I want you just to jot down, just take a few moments. You know, where was your breath? Was it high in your chest? Was it low in your belly? Could you not tell? Was it deep? Was it shallow? Fast, slow? And noticing if it changed as you started to bring your awareness to it. So just make some notes first of all, and then I'll invite you to put a couple of comments in the chat. So once you've made your notes, just like, you know, high level, just for your reference. Does anyone want to share in the chat what they noticed?
Do you want to go, Amanda?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I noticed that my breath is quite high, but it seems once I focused on it, it didn't feel as high. But yeah, definitely when I first put it up there. How about
And
you,
that's
Jerome?
very common, Amanda. Very, very common. Jerome? I mean, you've been doing this with me for a while, so hopefully you're kind of like, you know, be disappointed if you're off all kilter.
No, my breathing's actually changed quite significantly as a result of doing this with Sonja. Like I know I sit a lot lower now, and it's a lot stronger, and also helps with my swimming, which I do, which I had this evening as well. So I know that's helped enormously.
Great. And then road safety, high road safety, whoever you are, felt the same. So I'm guessing that was the same as Amanda. So high in the chest. Anyone else? Anyone? I'm like Ferris Bueller's Day Off, right? So it's like
Anyone?
Again, I age myself all the time. Breath's quite low. I was breathing a lot deeper when I paid attention to it. Thanks, Ruby. Yeah, it does. It starts to change as you actually turn your attention to it. So you can just pop stuff in the chat as you feel comfortable. I will keep moving through so that we can have time for Q&A because I am notorious for running over. So a little bit of the science and the physiology behind this. So breathing is part of our autonomic nervous system, right? It's an automatic function that we can consciously control. And, you know, obviously we want it to be automatic because we breathe every moment of every day. But it's so wonderful that when we turn our attention to it, we can actually use it for good and for our to improve our own health and well-being. But we don't really ever think about controlling our breath that much, right? It's just not something that we think about. Now, we have two branches which should come off of our autonomic nervous system. You have your sympathetic nervous system and you have your parasympathetic nervous system. Now, I normally ask you what they do, but it's too late. I put the slide up, so I was too fast this morning. So our sympathetic nervous system is that activating part of our nervous system. It's what moves us into reaction. And I just added this little like coffee cup because it's like when you have that first swig of coffee in the morning, right? And you're like, oh, right, I'm good. I'm ready to go. I'm all set, right? And then our parasympathetic nervous system is that relaxing, soothing part of our nervous system where we can respond to things and to situations. And that's like just taking a chill pill, right? Now, our sympathetic nervous system, we want these to be in balance, right? What we want is, it's like a beautiful musical symphony. You want it to be in balance. If it's too fast, it's going to sound terrible. If it's too slow, it's also not going to be very good for your ears. Now, what a lot of people don't realize is that the way physiology is designed, that we actually have a lot of nerve endings related to our sympathetic nervous system, high in our chest, and for our parasympathetic, low in our belly. But most of us have learned through conditioning to breathe really high, right? Really high in our chest. And what we're doing there is we're basically telling our brain that we're in danger. We're in this level of low-grade stress all the time. And when we're in our sympathetic nervous system, it is about reacting. So we release cortisol and adrenaline, right? We get ready to move into action. And short bursts of that are the way it's designed to be. But unfortunately, we tend not to have short bursts. We tend to be there on a regular basis if we're not taking this, you know, full breath and breathing and relaxing. So we're not allowing the chill pill to kick in. We're constantly in adrenalized energy. So if anyone's got any questions about that, stick them in the chat. I'll definitely get to them at the end or at the Q&A. but hopefully that makes sense, right? So all your chest breathers up here, you're like drip, drip, drip stress. And we want to change that, right? It's not good for anyone. It's not good for your brain, not good for your body, because over time that cortisol buildup will lead to burnout, which is what happened to me. So I moved through that fairly quickly because it's trying to give you as much information as I can in a very short period of time. But what we're going to look at next is we're going to shift into this connection between our bodies and our minds, and how breathing is our superpower, right? Because everything is connected. You know, used to be years ago, it was like, you know, mind-body connection, total woo-woo. But, you know, all of the great institutions from Stanford to Harvard and, you know, Melbourne University, all around the world to study this mind-body connection. We now accept that it is absolutely a thing. So this is what we're going to look at. We're going to look at how your emotions affect you on the road and how your thoughts affect you on the road. So we're going to do a short guided visualization. Please hang in there with me, okay? So I'm going to invite you once again to get comfortable, and I'm going to guide you through a couple of scenarios. And whilst I'm guiding you through these scenarios, I just want you to notice how your body responds, how your breath responds, and I will give you little prompts throughout. That sound all right for everybody? Are we all good? All right, get comfy. Now, I'm sitting cross-legged, so if cross-legged is more comfortable for you, please feel free to do that. So get comfortable. Allow yourself to be held by your seat, okay? So allow yourself to be held by your seat, but you're in an upright, relaxed position. Just rolling your shoulders back and down. And just placing your hands wherever is comfortable for you. And once again, invite you to close down your eyes or lower your gaze. Now, just taking a few moments to get situated. Just connecting into your breath and your body. Now, I want you to imagine that you are starting to walk to your car. So you're walking out of your office or your house or the garden, wherever you are, and you're walking towards either your car or a car. And you're gently opening the door and you're getting inside. And you are off on a little road trip. Now you can choose, you're either traveling alone or traveling with a partner and your family, whatever is normal for you if you're going on a road trip. It's a beautiful sunny day. The roads are quiet, you're out really early, you can hear the bird song. You start your car and you head off. You're heading to one of your favorite places, which is really pretty close to home. And as you start to drive on this beautiful sunny day, everyone's chilled, noticing how you're breathing, noticing your shoulders, noticing your hands on the steering wheel, noticing if you're breathing fast or slow, just wherever it is in your body. Now, the roads are starting to get a little bit busier. It's a Sunday and other folk have decided to go out for a drive. And if you've got kids in your car, they're starting to get a little bit louder. Starting to fight over the iPad in the back of the car, asking if are they there yet. So noticing if you normally drive with kids, noticing if your breathing is changing as you are imagining the kids fighting in the back of the car. Noticing your thoughts, noticing your hands and your posture. And if you're someone that doesn't drive with kids and you're like, I'm so chilled here, it's all good. You're continuing to drive and then you look in your mirror and there's a car very close behind you, uncomfortably close. You're driving within the speed limit, you're just enjoying the day, and this person is clearly in a hurry. As you notice this person in your mirror, Again, just connecting to your breath. Noticing your thoughts, your jaw. Noticing your hands. Now, up ahead, there's a little gap in the road, and this person has decided they're going to go for it. So you can hear them revving their car, and they very abruptly and aggressively overtake you. And a car comes around the corner and they need to pull in front of you, and you've had to slow down. How are you feeling right now? Have you stopped breathing? Have you held your breath? Noticing your hands on the steering wheel. Doing a quick scan of your body, noticing how you react. Now this person starts to drive off. You see some dark clouds ahead and think, oh, not rain. I hate driving in rain. And again, just noticing that thought and how it connects to your breath. Does anything shift? But it looks like you're in luck today. The clouds are going on past. Everyone's decided to leave the road and head for coffee. The kids have stopped fighting. The bird song returns. The skies are blue. Oh, you say, whew, that was a little bit tense. And you're back to enjoying your drive, the clear roads, the sunny day, no traffic ahead. Noticing your breath, your thoughts. Now you're just pulling over and you're safely parking. And just once you've got the car in park, you've turned off the engine. And you're just going to take a few breaths here. You've arrived. And just decompress. Allowing yourself to just reflect on what just happened. You're safely at your destination. And just taking a few slow breaths. And when you're ready, gently opening your eyes and just making a few notes on your observations. When you're ready, you can give me a thumbs up. Jerome, do you want to share? What did you...
Sure, yeah. No worries. And it's actually really timely because one of our partners reached out and said exactly the situation has been happening to their workers because their workers are driving and they have telematics, and exactly the situation there. And how do they deal with their drivers? I think for me, it's like straight away, the moment someone's tailgating, they're going around, you're like, and then they pull in, that sort of stuff happens. White knuckles are popping up. Feel my breathing getting shallower. I can also hear a few in my mind curses flowing through my mouth.
Perfectly natural. We all do it, right? We all do it. So yeah, the white knuckles, it's like, oh, because like you're getting ready to move into action, right? Your brain thinks, oh God, I'm in danger here. I need to do something about this. But we don't realize it, right? We just take it as something that happens when we're on the road. We don't think, oh, this isn't normal. This is not how this should be happening. Amanda, what about you?
it struck me, Sonja, how easy it was to visualize those scenarios. You know, I didn't have to go too far to go, oh yeah, here we go. That's this again. So how
Right.
common that is, like that's my drive. You just talked about my drive. And as I was thinking of it, I was clasping my hands in my lap.
Right. And unfortunately, it is all too common. Right. And the point of this exercise is, let me just run through these, is we want to start to identify what are your triggers? What are the things that move you from that calm, relaxed, balanced place where your brain's online, you're super chilled out, to moving into that sympathetic nervous system, right? And the triggers for everyone are going to be different, right? My trigger is tailgating. Cannot stand tailgaters, right? And I'm just like, I'm always trying to figure out how to get out of their way. And normally, like, you know, it's like, you know, single track roads, so it gets a little bit challenging. So, you know, we all wish we were like this, right? Chilled out, super happy driving along the roads, and all is good in the world. But you know what? Most of us end up like this throughout the day. Now, even just look at her posture, right? She's forward in the seat, right? Moving into action. You can see, you know, it's like yelling, right? So definitely, and I'm going to do a little bit of brain stuff, but she's sitting in her emotional center, her amygdala, right? Her prefrontal cortex, the smart part of her brain that makes good decisions, is gone, right? She's just like, I'm going to get you. Okay. It's like, what do you think you're doing? You know, we all want to think we're like the chill dad or uncle. It's like, oh, I'm taking the kids to school. Look at me. And they're really good and they're really well behaved for me. But reality is they're going to be like this in the back, right? It just takes one person. And then, you know, you can't help but get distracted. But you are reacting, your body is reacting to that situation in a way that you might not have known before. Oh, where's my next one? Like classic, you know, scenario, especially in the UK. Rain, right? A lot of people get really nervous driving next to trucks in rain. And what they do is, instead of like, you know, breathing and relaxing and being more focused, it's like you're up in front of the wheel and like you've literally got white knuckles, right? And that's not going to help any of us be better drivers. It's just going to make us much more stressed. Or it might be just sitting in gridlock, right? Let me have a quick look at the chat.
Well, I was just looking here, so Adam, I love that point. Like you said, I spent a lot of years rock climbing, teaching, and when you get up high, they stop breathing. So I guess you're exactly right. You're breathing like your life depends on it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and quite often when we get into high stress situations, or if someone's tailgating us, we will hold our breath. And again, like, you know, we cannot survive without air, and our brain listens to our lungs. Right? Our brain listens to our lungs. If we are holding our breath for an excessive amount of time when you're driving, your brain's going, oh my God, you're in real danger. I've got to get you out of here. You're about to get eaten. But you're not, you're just hacked off because someone's sitting up your butt, right? And I know how annoying it is. So,
and I was just thinking as well, it's just like for a truck driver, how many times do you think you have the spaces there? How many times are people cutting in front of them, and imagine the chaos going around you, and these guys, they're just trying to move along. They leave a space to be safe, and someone pulls in, and they're like, "Ah."
Absolutely, right. And it's about us being aware of ourselves on the road and other people, right? I mean, I think it was my dad's a cab driver, right? My dad once said to me, "You don't need to worry about yourself. It's everyone else you need to worry about on the road." I mean, I don't necessarily fully agree with that. I think we all need to worry, but you know, it's like how we show up impacts everyone else, right? I mean, I think that's really important. So these start to identify your triggers, right? Because we're going to create some habits around your triggers to do with anticipation. And there might be other scenarios, right? They were just the most general scenarios that we all run into on a regular basis. So this is important, right? And if you leave with remember nothing else, right? Remember, a chest breath is a stress breath, right? You're much more likely to get agitated, irritated, anxious, and emotional. Now, this is like arousal and upregulation, and it's context specific. So you also get a chest breath if you're excited, right? But your brain knows you're excited and happy. So it's very different in terms of how you respond. Because I'm kind of heading off that question before it comes up. But in these situations, the chest breath is absolutely about stress, because you are going to be constrained, right? Your body's going to be tight. And you're going to be basically dialing 911, 000, or 999, right? You're calling the emergency services because you're moving into reaction and upregulation. A belly breath is a calm breath. Remember, chill pill. Relaxed, focused, clear thinking. It allows you to respond. So if you're being tailgated, if you're sitting in a chest breath, you're going to react, you're not going to respond. And your reaction is probably going to be to speed up, right? You're going to speed up to get away from the person. And that person's just going to speed up even more, right? So you're going to end up in this cat and mouse of like the speed game, which is not going to be good for either of you. Whereas if you go, you know what, I'm feeling really stressed right now. This guy, girl, person's really irritating me. I'm going to breathe so that I can think, what is the right thing for me to do here, right? So you move from reacting to responding. Does that make sense for everyone? I mean, it's common sense, right? I'm always saying to people, I just teach common sense. So I think you've already done this. So if you haven't, write down what is stroke R, because there might be more than one, your triggers. And if you want to, just pop them in the chat, right? What are your triggers? So Adam, 12 years as a race car driving instructor. No, it's not weird. It's eclectic. It wasn't common, but around once a year.
Sam's triggers. So Sam's got some great triggers there when you see what he's going through, and there are people coming in onward traffic.
When people are bound to be really high geared, potholes. Oh, the potholes are the worst. Now you have to. Oh wow. Yeah, that's so that definitely needs you to respond and not react, right? People are stopped at the lights but keep inching forward while the light is red. Yeah, like no judgment over triggers, right? Certain things just trigger as long as you know. I think it's Phoebe. I think hopefully that's, tell me if I'm pronouncing that wrong.
It's Phoebe,
so
yes.
Now you know that's your trigger, right? That's amazing. Because what you can then do is anticipate it. And then I'm going to teach you how to breathe so that when you anticipate it, you're going to be able to take the chill pill and you're going to be less likely to react to it, right? Mine is absolutely tailgating. Can't stand it. Drives me bonkers. And I tend to try and pull over, and then I get stressed when I can't pull over. So it's like, oh, I've got to breathe. People who don't obey road rules at train crossings, school pedestrians, oh yeah, that's just life, right? That's definitely, you know, we have to be so vigilant. And when there's one car on the road and they're doing 20 Ks under the speed limit, yeah, Kyla, absolutely. And it's super dangerous, right, to not drive within the speed limit. And I get your pain, 100%. Yeah, and these are really good to know that these are all your triggers, because these are going to send you into your sympathetic nervous system, right? They're going to send you into reaction mode, and you don't want to be there. You want to be able to be in full control of the vehicle that you are in. And in life, right? So when you learn this skill, any money, you stop fighting as much with people like your partners and stuff when they don't take the trash out, which is one of my triggers. So segueing into emotions are contagious, right? I teach a lot of like leadership groups about this, but emotions are contagious. We catch them off each other, right? And it's very well documented around emotional contagion. And we take that contagion onto the road with us, right? So, you know, if you're driving fast and aggressively, you might find that other people start to catch that emotion, right? So we actually take this with us. So our emotions are contagious. So how we show up in the car will infect other people. Equally, if you're super chilled and relaxed, right? Other people are going to catch that. Anxiety is actually one of the most catching or contagious of emotions. So it's really important to check in with yourself when you go to the car going, I'm anxious today. Okay, let me reset myself a little bit, right? Because that's going to start to filter out into other people. It also means that when you arrive home, however you've been driving and however that has gone for you, you're going to take that across your threshold, right? So if you've had a beautiful drive home, you're going to go and go, hi, honey, I'm home, or to the cat or whatever, whoever's there for you, or no one, right? The pot plants, which is me.
Hello.
Right? So I normally speak to the plants, you know, Phoenix is my favorite at the moment, but you're going to take that home with you, right? You're also going to take it into the office. So you walk into the office and someone goes, hey, Amanda, morning. And you're like, that morning? Really? Definitely not a good morning, right? Because somebody's been doing whatever your trigger is, right? Does that sound familiar for anyone? You're like, oh yeah, I totally get this. So our
You know,
emotions are contagious.
I love it too, because Jerome, something that you said a little while ago that resonates with me is driving is how you start and end your day. And it fits perfectly with what you're saying too, Sonja. Like, you know, it's how you set yourself up for the day, and then you set yourself up to end the day with what you're doing.
Absolutely. You know, and it's like, if you've had a great drive, it's like, you know, rainbows and unicorns, right? And if you've not had a nice drive, it's like, you know, storm clouds,
thunderstorms and
terrible mood,
skeletal.
right? And it's other people that get this. Like, you show up in a meeting, and then what happens is you're in a foul mood because of whatever's happened before. And that contagion spreads amongst your peers. They don't know that you've had a bad drive. They just pick up on your energy, because we give out energy all the time. And then that leads to them questioning themselves, going, oh my God, what have I done to offend Amanda? What have I done to offend Jerome? Or you snap at someone, right? So it's like, the best way to do that is to go on and go, I've had a really shocking drive to work. Don't talk to me for 5 minutes. I'm going to go and reset myself. Right? I'm really sorry. It's not about you. It's all about me and that idiot X, Y, or Z on the road, right? They're not really an idiot. They just are clearly not done any of this work. So they don't know how to regulate their nervous system. All right. So hopefully that makes sense, because sometimes it is, you feel as if our head's on fire, right? You're like, oh my God, what can I do about this? So a little bit of the science, and then I'm going to jump into the practice, the how to reset yourself. So, you know, this is the simple version of our brain. Now, when we're sitting in our amygdala, right? Everyone's heard of our amygdala. People talk about it quite a lot these days. And I like to think of it as your chief security officer, right? So just think of your amygdala as your chief security officer. And its main job is to keep you safe, right? It's an internal alarm bell, and it's how your brain interprets things. So your brain's constantly scanning, right? We're constantly scanning our environment. And the amygdala goes, oh, I think this could be dangerous, right? So, and it's in the most ancient part of our brain, in the limbic system, which is formed before the neocortex, which is where your prefrontal cortex sits. So just think, amygdala is reaction, right? It's your chief security officer. We want to be sitting and respond, right? We want to be sitting in the CEO part of our brain, which is the prefrontal cortex, right? Which is where we plan and we're creative and we make decisions. Now, when you're sitting in your sympathetic nervous system, your CEO's gone out for coffee, right? Buggered off. It's like, I'm off. You don't need me right now, because you've got, you know, chief security officers in charge and they're marching forward. You want to reverse that scenario, especially on the road, right? You want to send your amygdala out for coffee, and you want your CEO to be in charge. Hopefully that makes sense. Now, our hippocampus, I like to call like our chief marketing officer, because it's always learning, right? And it's got a direct impact and correlation with your amygdala. They do a kind of dance with each other. And the hippocampus allows the amygdala to constantly learn from experiences. So what we want to do is create new habits, so that when we do get hit our triggers, or we can see our triggers coming, rather than moving into reaction, we start to learn to move into respond. So that's all the neuroscience for today. So now we're going to learn. You're like, great, Son, thanks so much. You've just told me that when I'm on the road, I'm either hacking someone else off or I'm not in a good place. What do I do about this? So we're going to learn how to breathe. Now, I'm going to give you the very kind of basic version of this in the interest of time, which is just the belly breathing, but you want to be breathing using your diaphragm. It takes a bit longer for me to run that with you, but learning to breathe from your belly is going to be super, super powerful. Now, I call it taking a full breath, not a deep breath, because if I tell you to take a deep breath, you're going to go, right? And you're going to breathe from your chest. So we're going to take a few moments to do some belly breathing. So the first thing I want you to do is, if your trousers are not stretchy like mine, right? I want you to pop your buttons, because you need to allow your belly to expand. So what we're going to do is, on your inhale, and I'm going to set you up for this, but I'm just going to tell you the instructions. As you inhale, allow your belly to expand like a balloon, right? But really gently. You're not going, right? You're not trying to blow up in one go, right? It's a very gentle expansion. And it might feel really strange, because you might not have done this before. And we're always like holding our bellies in, because we think we need to look super slim and, you know, I can't have my belly all loose, but we want it to be soft. And the way it's going to look is, as you inhale, your belly's going to expand. And as you exhale, it relaxes. breathing in and breathing out. Everyone see that? Breathing in and breathing out. So we're going to do this for a few minutes because I'm running out of time, sorry, because we need to habit change next. But we're going to do a couple of minutes of this so that you get the zen and the chill pill, right? So get comfy, sitting up straight, ideally flat feet flat on the floor. I'm going to invite you to close down your eyes and place one hand over your belly button and just allow your belly to be soft. Like really allow it to all hang out, right? No one can see you. Allow it to be soft and notice what that feels like. Now, ideally, you want to breathe through your nose. So unless you've got a medical condition, I'm going to invite you to breathe through your nose. So placing your tongue just behind your front teeth, gently resting against your upper palate and closing your lips and breathing through your nose. And as you, on your next inhale, just allowing your belly to gently expand. Breathing in. And as you exhale, just finding more softness. Breathing in, your belly expands. And breathing out, relaxing. Now, I'm going to leave you in silence for a few minutes because I just want you to enjoy this experience. If your mind starts to wander, just bringing it back to your breath. Allowing your shoulders to melt down your back. I'm just going to take a few more breaths like this. Breathing in, the belly rises. And as you exhale, the belly falls. Two more breaths. Now, just taking a moment to notice how you feel. Noticing your thoughts. Any sensations in your body. And just the quality of your being. Maybe you need a nap. Because what you've done here is you have told your body you're safe. And just taking a couple of deep breaths. And when you're ready, I invite you to open your eyes and return back into the room. So hard to come back from that because it's so nice. If you feel tired, if you feel super zen, that's great. It's very normal because you have told your brain that, oh, I'm actually safe. If anyone struggles to sleep, this is a really important practice to do to fall asleep. So you're also safe on the roads. But that's a whole other class. How was that for everyone? Anyone get any comments? Jerome's like, yeah, I'm all good.
I'm feeling good.
It can feel really strange because we're not used to breathing from our bellies, right? Because we are conditioned. Kept yawning. Yeah, Phoebe, very, very normal. You've allowed yourself to relax. And you're also just like, there's another practice I might just send Jerome some resources just so that, because there's a few other breathing practices that you can use that I'm just not going to be able to cover today. But yeah, yawning is very normal because you're like, oh, I'm actually relaxing. Wow. And just yawn fully and get in as much oxygen as you can, because when we breathe high in the chest, we actually don't get enough oxygen in. So that's why we take lots of shallow breaths. All right, I'm going to keep moving because I want you guys to be able to create some habits around this. So that's you taking a full breath. We would normally do diaphragm and we'd go for a lot longer, but we just don't have time today. So yeah, we talked about this having to be a series and not just like a one-off class. So we'll see how that goes. All right, so I wanted to talk about creating daily habits, right? So we want to start to bring these new practices and this new information into our daily life, right? Because, you know, we create habits to decrease activity in the brain, right? Because we've got a huge cognitive load all the time. So habits reduce cognitive load and free up mental capacity. So you can allocate your attention to other tasks. But not all habits are habits we really want to have. Some of them are actually suboptimal. And your brain takes shape from what you rest your attention on, right? Our brains are plastic. Neuroplasticity is a very common term these days. They change all the time, right? So our brains are constantly being reshaped by what we rest our attention on. Changes of brain foster changes of mind. So what we're doing is, by creating these new habits around road safety, you're creating greater resilience and well-being for yourself and for others. And it happens through repetition, right? Habit formation is the process by which a behavior becomes progressively more automatic through repetition. Oh, there is it. So we're going to create some habits, and we're going to use some of BJ Fogg's work from Stanford University around tiny habits. So going back to the very start, right? Do you ever ask yourself, am I in the right frame of mind to drive? We're going to use this thing called after I will. So before you get in the car, so I'm going to run through this one and then we can create our own. So before you get in the car, so you do after I, which is a current habit, I will, new habit. So after I will. And you can write these on a sticky and stick them inside and outside of your car. So after I unlock the car, I will ask myself, how am I feeling? And then I will take 3 slow, full breaths. Right? So after I will, and you can make up your own, right? But it's just like the intention. So that was, so when you get into your car, right? As you get into your car, because this is all about resetting your nervous system and getting it into balance before you even take off. So as you get into your car, after I put on my seatbelt, right? Which you will do automatically, I will take 3 slow, full breaths. You'll see a theme here. There might be a lot of breathing, right? Now, I want you to think of your triggers. Think of your triggers. So it's after I will. Now, here's a couple of examples. After I get cut off in traffic, I will take 3 slow, full breaths, right? Because we're going to move from sympathetic nervous system of like, right? Remember the chick, to chill pill. It's okay. It's fine. They're having a bad day. Doesn't mean I need to have a bad day. I am going to show up fully present and aware. After I yell at the kids, it's okay. It happens, right? But yelling, you're triggering that sympathetic nervous system. I will roll down the window because it's really good to get some air after you've yelled, right? That kind of shock factor, right? I will roll down the window and take 3 slow, full breaths. Quite hard to say, actually. It's not even an alliteration. Before I enter home or work, right? Remember, we carry our emotions with us. Oops. Oh, dearie me. Go back. So after I park the car, I will roll down the window. I missed that bit, and take 3 slow, full breaths. This is what happened when you change it in a hotel late at night, right? I will take 3 slow breaths. Does anyone want to put their after I in the chat? After I will. And then we'll close this out.
It's even like when you have that, Sonja, I know one of the things when we're going through doing this previously, like after I feel my hackles get up, my kids are fighting, before I respond, I take 3 deep breaths.
Oh, for sure.
And I admit it's become a solid habit, and I'm going to flow it now into exactly what we're talking about here. Like, so I think it's fantastic in helping to reset.
100%, right? If you find yourself in the kitchen with your partner and it's starting to escalate, or with your kids, they're like that, can I have? And you're like, I'm about to lose my, right? I've got a bit of a potty mouth, so I'm trying to not bring, because this is recorded, so I'm being very conscious. So it's like, take a breath, right? Don't let that escalate, because like you'll just escalate one after the other and it's never going to go well. Never, right? So after I get stuck in traffic, I will take 3 slow, full breaths. Fantastic, Amanda. Thank you. And Kaylin, for you, right? It's like, you know, after I notice a slow car on the road, right? Because you're already triggered as soon as you notice it, right? It's not even that you're next to it, you see it. I will take 3 slow, full breaths. And you can do more than 3, but you definitely want to take 3, right? And then, you know, it's like, it's the anticipation. After a car cuts out in front of me, yeah, absolutely, Jerome, fantastic.
It's always a BMW, Randy. It's always that BMW driver.
Poor BMW drivers. I don't drive a BMW, but yes, I know it's a bit of a nightmare. So self-awareness leads to action, which leads to outcome. So everyone who's joined this webinar, you are actually creating a movement, right? You're creating a breath-aware movement. You're creating a movement to have increased road safety by your self-awareness, right? Self-awareness leads to action, leads to outcome. And what we've done here today is, so self-awareness, like you're aware of how you're breathing in the car. Your outcome is now your anticipation of your triggers, right? You now know what triggers you in the car, which is important for your safety, for your family safety, and everyone round about you. And your outcome is breathing in a balanced, regulated nervous system to allow you to move from reaction to responding. And then the movement is a safer driving movement, right? And we all have it in our power to create this. It's, you know, every single one of us. I'm just going to close out. You can do this micro practice so that you remember to take your 3 full breaths. And it's just about relearning how to breathe, right? So today and for the rest of your life, every time you have a tea, a coffee, go to the restroom or have a glass of water, because we all do those things multiple times a day, just pause and reset yourself, right? And just take 3 full breaths. Thank you, everyone. We now move to almost questions. If you want to connect with me, best way is through LinkedIn. So Sonja Montague Mackay or Mackay, depending what country you're in. Would love to connect and chat with you, and you're also free to email me. But yeah, would love to know how that was today, and please ask any questions. And thanks, everyone. It's always a BMW everywhere. God, poor BMW, getting a bad rap. Thanks, everyone. Please stick some, if you've got any questions, pop them in the chat. Let me know if that was useful. What are you going to change, right? What are you going to change after today? I would love to know. Do you now think, oh, actually, this is going to be useful here?
And look, a strange sort of, you never know. When you begin doing it, you can actually really balance yourself out. Like one of the strange ones that I do now, which Sonja's thing is also make sure I breathe through my mouth, is I put a bit of tape across the mouth to help keep my mouth closed. There we go. So it keeps a good book, so I get kicked in the side of the head. So things like that, helping you breathe properly even when I'm sleeping. So
that, yeah, this is sleep tape. So I run a sleep class, and most of us end up being mouth breathers when we sleep, and you lose 40% moisture, but you also lose 20% oxygen. So by breathing through your nose, you actually increase your oxygen intake by up to 18% it is. So yeah, I do sleep with tape on my mouth, but that's another discussion. What we got here, going to start training myself to breathe before reacting. Absolutely. It's such a gift, honestly. It is so good in so many situations. Definitely notice my triggers a lot more, and think, who can you share this with, right? Who can you share this with? Because this is a message I'm trying to get out there to everyone, just to amplify this. Road safety, interesting. I let my husband know about the tape. Yeah, if there's, so the only caveat is if anyone has sleep apnea, right? If they have genuine diagnosed sleep apnea, you do not want them taping their mouth, right? Absolutely not. So this is just if you're a regular sleeper and you might be a snorer, it definitely helps with snoring. And it does help with moisture loss. I was actually a dentist, so I study a lot. But it can also help prevent cavities, because when we lose that moisture through our mouth, it actually leads to cavities. Because I got fillings and I was like, I don't eat sugar, I floss, like why? And then I realized I was breathing through my mouth. So I sleep much better actually with this as well. But don't, I'm going to have to explain the sleep tape now, Jerome. So like,
That's
don't,
right. I'm sorry, and make sure it's not gaffer tape, or it might be a one.
So like this is micro pore tape. I don't put it all the way over my mouth. I literally just set it there. That's all I do.
Duct tape.
Right? No, don't use duct tape. Please do not use duct tape. That would be really bad, especially if they have a beard. It can be very painful, and you need to wet it before you take it off. Don't, because I've got little hairs in my, I've got a little blonde mustache, and I ripped it off with it when I took this off. But that's a sleep class, right? That's not road safety class. We don't want you sleeping in the car, right? Please, no sleeping in the car. That would be absolutely shocking. So yeah, apply it to all stressful situations, right? I mean, it's literally, I mean, it's a life skill. It's a life skill that we need to learn from a very young age. And our breathing starts to change between the ages of 5 and 7. Partly because we get teased at school if we look slightly different, we start to get smaller. We also sit at desks, right? We hunch over. You go to the doctor and they take your, they go take a deep breath and they stick the stethoscope up here, right? So you're like that, oh, that deep breath comes from here. And that's not the case. But I just, this is to help everyone be more safe on the roads, be more self-aware, and really that check-in of like, am I in the right frame of mind to drive? No, actually, I need to take a walk around the block. Right? Or I just need to breathe for a few minutes, rather than you just take whatever's happened into a very heavy moving vehicle, right? So thanks everyone. But Jerome, Amanda, any other questions, comments, anything?
Absolutely fantastic. I think, and what a great sort of byline to close it out with as well. I think you just synced it up absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much for everyone who joined us today and threw in the comments. I know I promised you it was going to be very interactive. And that's why I want to make sure having Amanda join in as well was equally passionate about aggression. So Sonja, thank you so much for getting up early and dialing in from from London.
That's all right. I am normally in Edinburgh, but down in London today. So I'm really delighted just to have spent the time with everyone today. And yeah, I mean, Melbourne's my second home, right? I would have been back if it hadn't been for COVID, but here I am back in the UK. It happens. But yeah, ping me if you've got any questions. Thanks for everyone that joined. You are amongst an elite group that now has your own superpower. So congratulations.
Awesome. Thank you so much. See you, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Take care.
Bye.